The abolition of slavery in the British Empire was a gradual and complex process, involving a combination of moral, economic, and political factors. The origins of this movement can be traced back to the late 18th century. Initially, the transatlantic slave trade and slavery were central to the economy of many British colonies, especially in the Caribbean. The profits from plantations in these colonies, which relied heavily on slave labor, significantly contributed to Britain's wealth. However, by the late 18th century, a growing moral and humanitarian opposition to slavery began to emerge. This movement was partly inspired by the Enlightenment ideals of liberty and equality, as well as by the religious convictions of groups like the Quakers and the Evangelicals. One of the early and pivotal figures in the British abolitionist movement was William Wilberforce, a Member of Parliament. Wilberforce, influenced by his Christian faith and his friendship with anti-slavery campaigners like Thomas Clarkson and Granville Sharp, dedicated his political career to ending the slave trade and slavery. He first introduced a bill to abolish the slave trade in 1789, but it was not until 1807 that the Slave Trade Act was passed, making the slave trade illegal throughout the British Empire. This did not, however, free those who were already enslaved. The campaign to end slavery itself, rather than just the trade, gained momentum in the following decades. The anti-slavery movement utilized a variety of tactics, from parliamentary petitions to boycotts of sugar produced by slave labor. The movement was also aided by the testimonies and writings of former slaves, such as Olaudah Equiano and Mary Prince, which provided first-hand accounts of the horrors of slavery. The economic landscape was also changing during this period. The Industrial Revolution was altering the economic structure of Britain, reducing the relative importance of the West Indian colonies and their slave-produced goods. Moreover, the continuous slave rebellions in the colonies, most notably the 1831–1832 Baptist War, led by Samuel Sharp in Jamaica, highlighted the growing unfeasibility and moral indefensibility of maintaining slavery. Finally, in 1833, the Slavery Abolition Act was passed, largely due to the efforts of Wilberforce and others. This act came into effect on August 1, 1834, and it initially provided for a transitional period of apprenticeship for the former slaves. Full emancipation was achieved in 1838, marking the end of slavery in most parts of the British Empire. The abolition of slavery in the British Empire was significant not only for its immediate impact, but also for its influence on other nations. It set a precedent and provided a moral and practical framework for international abolitionist movements, contributing to the eventual end of legal slavery worldwide.